Well, after last week's video, you're probably wondering, what exactly are we going to do next? So many things to pick from, and tell you the truth, folks, this being recorded just a few hours before it goes on, this is, Sunday afternoon here, and oh man, I've had honeydews and all this other kind of stuff, but I did want to get one out for you, and so I'm picking low-hanging fruit. I'm picking something that's, I think, really going to be very easy to get going, because this one seems to be working pretty much just fine as it is. I think there's just, man, I don't even know if I'm gonna, let's see. Well, first thing as I do with any of these things, I always take a look at the gasket on here, and honestly, if I look at the gasket on here, I'm trying to figure. Yeah, this is I believe a lead gasket that's in here. That's kind of what it seems like, which kind of explains why it actually still seals. And so all I'm going to do for this one here really is just going to clean the mating surface off a little bit. Yeah, we're getting right to this, right? There's not a whole lot to do on this one, I think. Yeah, and admittedly, I'm kind of jumping ahead here a little bit. For the folks that didn't see last week's video, I recommend you go back and take a look at it, because we had a bunch of good picks. Some of the stuff which you can see here is residue from those picks, and this was one of them. So this is a Coleman Quick LIte table lamp, and I found right here on the side Coleman Quick LIte, and the numbers stamped on here are 9 and 4. So if I'm remembering my numbering properly, that means that was April 1929, which is this is the month of April, so I guess if you can do that math, you can let me know exactly how long ago that was, but it's exactly the same month here. So we have a couple little things here on the top that I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, we can kind of probably straighten this out a little bit, but I think I'm just going to remove it for right now, because it is loose, and we're not going to really worry about hanging a shade on it for right now. I'm just going to kind of move that off. And I actually have another one of these that I picked up there too. So I've got kind of a reference one to look at, that if I can find it here, that's in a little better shape. Of course, it kind of escapes me at the moment, so we'll have to see where that got to. I don't think I put it in the drawer here. Maybe I did. Never can tell. But nonetheless, yeah, we'll worry about straightening this out so it looks in a little better shape, because it looks like it's just been kind of hit here, and it's actually pretty sturdy steel. It's a lot more sturdy than you'd expect. So for right now, this is not important. The important thing is trying to get this thing to kind of work. So one of the things that I noticed on it is that this handle is a bit loose. Now, this little collar right here, this is what secures this handle, right? So the only thing to do with that is that you want to tighten this down such that it secures the handle, and then you have no more looseness. I haven't applied any kind of cleaner to this. I guess we can, just to kind of see what it looks like. There's simple green mixture here in my ultrasonic cleaner, so we'll see if it doesn't kind of help remove some of the schmoo that's on the outside of this. And really what I want to do with this one here is, since this is a table lamp that has a built-in pump in it and makes operation a bit easier, this is going to replace the other lamp that I've got on my back patio, and yeah, it looks pretty good. I don't know, there's like some kind of weird funky gummy, like almost looks like overspray, which is kind of a bit unfortunate. But what we're going to do with it is that we're going to use the magic shine juice that we've talked about in the past, which is essentially linseed oil that's been thinned down, and a couple of coats on here will bring this back to a bring it back to a nice shine. But we'll have to do a little bit of cleanup on here first to kind of get some of the stuff that, because it shouldn't sound so rough. I mean, where I did kind of clean it here, it sounds much more smooth. This is definitely rougher sounding. So anyway, so we know we got some cosmetics to work with here, but you know, that's not really what we're after. We're kind of here to see, because can it clean up nice, and you know, I might want to just try some rubbing compound and see how that works out, because I don't want to remove the paint, but I do want to remove the scuzz off of it. But most of it almost seems like it was like a spray wax, like a overspray from spray wax. Is that possible? It doesn't really rub off. It feels kind of slightly gummy, but anyway, we'll worry about cleaning it later. We're here to make fire, right? So this, I know, actually holds pressure, because even though the pump was a little bit on the dry side, it still had a little bit of lubrication to it, and it did actually pump up. So what we're going to do, and this does look quite dry, we're going to go ahead and use this neat's foot oil, and let's see, I think I don't have a, the normal thing that I pour neat's foot oil into is actually, I think, has got old linseed oil in here, so you can see what linseed oil looks like when it's fully polymerized. So that will be an interesting removal thing that I've got to do. But actually, we can probably pour some of this oil right on top of there, and it's not going to really cause any kind of major issues. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of this on here. Hopefully not make too big of a mess. It doesn't really take a whole lot. So yeah, the thing about this neat's foot oil, and I just went down to the local farmer supply, and this is Horse Health Products, comes out of Phoenix, Arizona, but this is pure neat's foot oil, and this will absolutely last me a lifetime. But it was cheaper just to buy that and just have some excess than it would be to buy like the small quantities that people have online. So I did that. So all I'm doing right now is just kind of get that scooped up inside there so the leather can get fully lubricated, and we'll kind of stretch it out here a little bit gently, because obviously if the leather's kind of dry, it's going to want to crack. So I don't want to get too frisky with that, but it does feel pretty good, and this neat's foot oil really does a heck of a job of softening this stuff up. So this should actually work out quite well for us here. So let's just, this is always the fun part, is getting these back in here. Go. Nice. Just wish I was a little better at doing that, but it does take a little bit of messing about. So anyway, so this screws back down, and what I like to do, yeah, see, that just holds pressure like crazy. What I like to do with these, when I'm doing a new one in here, I leave the check valve all the way closed, right? And you know, well, if you do that, all you get is resistance. I'm like, exactly, and that resistance will kind of help force that leather against the side of the cylinder that it's in. It'll also generate some heat, and so I just kind of bounce it against that column of air in there, and do that, and then that usually makes it work pretty good. So now we're actually pumping the tank, and we'll kind of see if we hear any check valve hiss. I don't think we will. Nope, don't hear any check valve hiss, so that's great. And then we do this, and I do hear air going through. So, and if I do this, we get a lot of air pressure. So we know that the pump's working great. We know the cap's holding good. Then this may be working fine. Don't know. I can hear air coming through. So I think what I'm going to do is that we're going to put some fuel in here. We're going to see what happens. I'm just going to go ahead and light this without any mantles on it because I'm not exactly sure what it's going to do. And I don't want to put a set of mantles on there and then just kind of wreck them because I got to take things apart. These generators are generally non-rebuildable, so that is a bit of a problem. I'm going to measure out how much fuel I'm putting in here because I don't want to randomly just pour a ton of fuel in here and not know how much I'm putting in. So we'll probably put about half a liter of fuel in here. This is right around 200 mils. So maybe I'll put like, is that 200? Yeah, 200. So a couple of these will be 400 mils, which should be enough to get fuel up to the top. Now, the other thing, this says it's a quick light lamp, which is true, but the thing about a quick light lamp is that it is not an instant light lamp. It's quick, not instant. Instant means you've got the fuel air system where you crack it open a quarter turn. This is not that. This has a generator that requires a preheat. Normally they'd recommend you to preheat this with 2 matches on either side, and that's how you did it, and that's great and all that, but I don't like that. That method is kind of a pain, honestly, and I've never had a whole heck of a lot of success with it. But I'll tell you, what I have had a lot of success with is, well, a propane torch. So that's what we're going to use to preheat. And so hopefully what we'll get here is that we'll get some nice flames out of the Bunsen, and then we'll be able to tie some mantles on here and see it run. So that's what we're going to do. So right now we're just going to go ahead and get some pressure in it. Okay, that was probably, I don't know, 40 pumps. It's a big fount and it's not very full of fuel, so you can pump to your heart's content. Everything sounds good. Cap's tight, that's closed, because if it wasn't, that'd be a mess. And we're going to preheat the generator. Now, what I do, in this case I probably won't. I'm going to open this all the way. I'm definitely getting the light off the generator here, and I don't hear any fuel flowing. So that's not great, because we know we've got pressure in the tank. I mean, I can kind of show you here. I mean, you can hear that. There's definitely pressure in the tank. So that's not a problem. It's the generator that's the issue here. So what I'm going to do, without burning myself, because of course this is now really quite hot, we're going to go ahead and loosen this generator out of here and see what happens. So looking at the bench here, I think I've got a couple of generators here. I've got one new R55 in the box, which is a direct replacement for this, but that is supposed to be used for a different lamp that I'm working on. So I want to try to not use that if I don't have to. But what we're going to do, and probably what I should have done, since this is the first time that I was bringing fuel up, I should have probably taken the generator out and then just shot a lot of fuel right out of the nozzle here, and done that. But I did not do that. This thing is just fighting me with every single turn. Let's try this. That's a little better when you don't, like an old family friend said, don't ever pull against the movable jaw of a crescent wrench. Thank you, Shorty. I just wish I would remember. I also wish you were still around. You're a great guy. So anyway, let's pull this out. and because I know it's going to be kind of warmish. Yeah, I guess we'll just set it on top of this, maybe. Hope for the best. There we go. See if we get fuel shoot. Yeah, we immediately get fuel coming right out of there, so that is not our problem, obviously. But like I was saying, what I probably should have done is shot a bunch of fuel out of it, so that way if there's any debris or anything else like that in here, we would we'd be able to get it out. Let's see, I don't remember if this one has any flow. This one does seem to have some flow. Maybe we get lucky. So let's try substituting in this other gen, and let's see if it doesn't work, because it definitely, I could definitely blow through it. So that part's good. So I'll get this cranked in here, and then we'll heat it up, and we'll see what happens. Of course, the second I let go of it, that's when it wants to turn. Okay, that should be good. Let's see if we get, oh yeah, this one I think is going to happen. Yeah, we've already got some fire in there, don't we? This is just fuel that's in the generator, and a little bit that's sitting out of there. So let's well, I can hear it. Well, that's definitely fuel vapor. Pretty sure. No, maybe not. Stinky vapor. This is pretty weird, because we're definitely getting vapor out, but we don't want to ignite. So let's shut that off for a sec. I know we got plenty of that. So usually what this leads me to believe is that maybe we've got some blockage up in here. That sometimes is an issue. Hopefully I haven't made this thing, I've made it moderately hot. Probably the easiest way to see what's going on is to remove this screw, and then it's quite warm, and then get this top off of here. If we're lucky, it should just unscrew like this, which is great. But of course we need to have the burner tubes loose first, which those are usually, they usually fight a lot more. So let's see what we can do with that. This one actually wanted to move pretty good, so that's great. Okay, it's coming right out. That's good. It's also quite hot, so we'll set it here on a metal vise. Let's hope that this one comes loose first too. It's good. So the other thing about this too is it's also good working this thing when it's hot, because that does help the everything come apart. So let's take a look down these. They look they look completely clear. Yeah, nothing in there, so that's great. This wanted to unscrew right off, so that's pretty awesome. This is actually the easiest disassembly I've had of one of these ever. That's pretty exciting. This is completely clear inside. And I just discovered what I'm doing wrong. You'll notice when I took this off the very top, it was held in with this, which allows you to put the shade on it, and then you can also screw a rod into it. What happens if you don't? Yikes! I almost broke a globe. Holy cow! What happens if you do not replace the screw in there? You have a hole in the top of your burner tube, which then leaks air and makes things not work right. So self-inflicted injuries here. But hey, you know what? We're able to open this up. There is one little weird bit of something there. See if we can, yep. See, fuel streams straight out of there, so that's awesome. I wish that was a little cooler so I could put it on with my hands, but it is not to be. Do I have, I don't have any. I've got some water, but since it's dry, I don't think I want to get it wet. So we're gonna screw this back on here. Now that I've put the screw back on the top, everything should work right because I'm not messing up the fuel air mixture. Make sure I get my screw hole lined up pretty good, which it appears to be. Yeah, this is the easiest one of these have ever come apart for me. This is awesome. So very excited about that. But that's the way that you check for a blockage, and of course there was none. These are now cool enough to handle, so that's good. So we can screw these back in without too much fanfare, hopefully. There we go. Crank that in there. Still a little bit warm, but not too bad. That goes in there nice. That's good. Now we should be fine. I'm going to hit this with a little bit of this because it's going to do this because, you know, I did get liquid fuel going up in there. But yeah, it's just for whatever reason, I don't know why the Bunsen doesn't want to continue to burn, because it certainly is not throwing liquid fuel up in there. I think at this state that what needs to be done is it just needs to have the mantles tied on it and run from there. And I think it should just run, because you know they want to blow out if they don't have the mantle on them. So we'll go ahead and throw some of the cheap Peerless ones on here that we can mess with. So I think that's these, and I keep saying I need to put in another order for these, and I do. Because I think I'm down to my last 4 of the Peerless. These are the ones I like to use to test, because if they do need to get replaced, they're not terrible to replace. I should actually use the Colemans for testing. They may even be a little bit more inexpensive, but anyway, see how this all works out here. It's kind of, some of these, sometimes you see that the insides of these they're gathered up a little bit, and I like to kind of stick my finger down in there and push the bottom of the mantle out to get the full length of the mantle out, because sometimes they're puckered in there a little bit, and that doesn't always work. So anyway, we'll kind of do this. We got squirrels running around out there. It's a really pretty day here today. We are at 80 degrees in the shop, but the humidity here is extremely low. It says 34%. So it feels pretty fantastic here. So that is really nice for a change, because we all know that the humidity is a-coming, because we get about 7 months of really pretty nice weather. I used to say 6, but I think it's closer to 7. So we get about that much really nice weather, and then the rest of the year is really hot, really steamy, and really uncomfortable. So so yeah, that's why we got the shop doors open today. It's a beautiful day out there. I've been doing honeydews here the past couple of days. It's been it's been not too bad. Mowed the lawn today, got that done, and yeah, so it's been an all right weekend, I can say that. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and snip these off, and then we're gonna burn them off, and then we're gonna light them off. So burn, baby, burn. We ain't got no time for doing this slow. Yeah, a lot of people say, what are you doing? Are you absolutely insane? I'm like, maybe, I guess, but you know, the way that I kind of cook off mantles, I don't really stress too much about it. I just kind of get it done and let them rip. So there's not a whole lot that I worry about on these. We'll just kind of get them pretty white here, apply some heat to the generator, and then we're going to do this. And that is it going. So these are always, and I think maybe also I could probably use a little more pressure in here. Probably wouldn't hurt. These Peerless mantles, they always start off really yellow, and these are no different. And it takes a long time, about 30 minutes, for them to really burn off into the nice bright white. And I know the camera here right now is making these look extremely bright white, and they're really truly not. I wish I didn't think to bring my phone with me, otherwise I'd be showing you exactly what it looks like, because I could probably edit a picture of that down so you can actually see what's going on. But I heard that some other people were talking about the mantles from Peerless look kind of yellow, and they're not as white as the Colemans, and that's true when they start. But once they go for a while, then they definitely will get white, and I can see these white spots getting bigger. It just takes some time, and yeah, we'll probably have to continue to pump this thing up, make sure we get enough pressure in there to really get it roaring along, because like I said, I've only put like 400 mils of gas in there, and the fount is really big, so it takes a lot to get that up to pressure. So sounding a little better. I can kind of hear it kind of crackling a little bit now, but yeah, it's going to take a while for that yellow to burn completely off. I don't know if on the back side here you can see it's a little wider or not, but at any rate, so this has got to sit here and run for at least 30 minutes, and that way the mantles will get fully centered and set, and they will hold their shape a whole lot better. I've got an example of what happens if you don't do that, and that is this right here. Someone has had put some mantles on a this is a propane lantern. Let's say probably over here. You can see how wiggly these things are, right? And they're white, so they've been burned off, but they haven't been burned in. And so yeah, that is kind of interesting, is that if you don't really properly burn them in, you don't get any structural rigidity out of your mantle. But once you do properly burn them in, they can be very, very strong and really quite sturdy when they're kept inside of the inside of your protective area that is your lamp or your lantern. And I say this because we've taken a number of trips this year, and we've gone all over Texas doing picking trips and everything else like that. And these go into the back of the truck, car, whatever. They go to the back of the car, and then we go bumping down all the country roads. And we don't really try to take extra smooth roads or extra rough roads, and you just drive, right? I don't drive thinking, oh my God, I got fragile mantles in the back, I got to watch where I'm going. I just go. And whether we end up going over cattle guards or potholes or me running over things on the road, whoops, we just go where we go. And I'll tell you this much, I have got mantle sets for all of the lanterns that I take with me, and I have never had to change a mantle on the road. Let's see, wood, there you go. And it is kind of surprising, but it's because I think I adhere to the whole concept of really burning your mantles well before you shut it off. So this will continue to run for 30 minutes. Luckily for you, this video will not continue to run for another 30 minutes because that would be pretty boring. And then everything at that point will be nice and solid, and then the lantern, the mantles will be fully white too, because they're getting better, but they still have a bit of yellow on them. So we'll just continue to go on that. And let me just kind of do a quick. See, do I have something? Yeah, I got something. I'm just going to block the air here on here just a little bit, just to see what happens to our lighting. Yeah, we get the flames that go out over the top, and we block off a lot. So we've got plenty of fuel going in there. It's just a matter of these mantles getting fully cooked in and ready to go. So it's not running rich. If it was, we'd have yellow flames and everything, and we don't. So so you got that. But that is it. This was an easy one, which is great because I didn't have a lot of time to put it together. So I'm glad I could kind of show you, and we get this old 1929 Coleman lit back up, and then it can get put into duty on the back porch, lighten up our backyard. So that'll be pretty great. It would be a birthday lantern for me if I was born in 1929, but I was born in April, so we're going to call it sort of close. Well, not a lantern, but a lamp. Anyway, that is it for this episode here. Thanks for joining me. Like I said, if you haven't seen what we picked up lately, go ahead and check the previous week's video, and that way you can see what it is that we've got and what is in store for the next couple of videos. We've got lots of ideas. We've been doing this for a year now, and I keep thinking I'm going to run out of ideas, and the channel is going to have to basically go inactive, or I'm going to have to shut it down or do something like that. And the fact is that I keep continuing to get new ideas and new things to do, and other stuff that all relates to lanterning and lamping and everything else. For instance, with the handy gas plant. That one that I picked up needs a lot of derusting, so we're going to go over how to use electrolytic derusting to save cast iron parts and bring them back to like new condition. So that'll be one to look forward to in the coming episodes. So with all that, I'm not going to hold you any longer. I already keep talking too much. It is. So y'all take care, and until next time, keep them lit.